Okay, stuff is popping off now, and we're struggling to keep up.
Way so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought.
Yes, friends, what's happening? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan. Hope you're doing well. Genuinely, wholeheartedly do hope that The Athletic this morning has posted a briefing, a deal sheet, as they're calling it, of updates, all kinds of updates for Chelsea in the transfer market, which we're going to comb over here. Of course, there has been a massive twist in the Benjamin Sesko situation with, of course, Chelsea, Manchester United, and Arsenal all interested in the Leipzig centre forward. Spoiler, he's staying. We're going to reflect on that a little bit as well. And yes, of course, Sod's Law yesterday, I uploaded a video reacting to the Sky Sports update in Germany that Bayern are interested in Colwill. Since very, very soon after me publishing that video, Romano confirmed that Chelsea don't want to sell Colwill, but he's uploaded a video this morning at time of recording 30 minutes ago, so approximately 9:30, 9:20 a.m. in the UK, saying that, no, he's not going unless something crazy happens. But Chelsea don't do anything crazy. So yeah, strap yourselves in. Thank you for joining me. If you want to support the content, as always, it's super simple. Like the video and subscribe if you want to. But if you choose to, you should hit that sweet, sweet bell, baby. Ooh, yeah. Sweet, sweet bell. Maybe not so much today. Need to bring it down an octave. Anyway, let's just quickly sort out Colwill. Yes, it was Plettenberg, what's his name? The Sky Sports Germany Deutsch reporter man, saying Bayern Munich, of course, are looking at Tar, but if they can't get him, they really, really appreciate Levi Colwill, which is probably the case, I can imagine. We went into detail about how good this kid is yesterday, if you want my reaction to that, but, you know, more saliently at this point, we speak about what Colwill represents as a talent. So I think, you know, really, really important. I don't think Chelsea want to sell him. Of course, because he's a pure profit, it makes you a little bit twitchy if Bayern waved 60, 70 million pounds underneath Chelsea's face. So hopefully he stays. I think he's such an important player for the future, who's highly rated by the world of football. Alright, so this is the big news, an exclusive coming from Fabrizio Romano this morning, an exclusive regarding the RB Leipzig 21-year-old or 22-year-old, I think he's 21, striker Sesko. Benjamin Sesko is going to stay at RB Leipzig and signed a new contract on improved terms. Decision made for the talented striker. He references how this is similar to Erling Haaland. Remember when Haaland was going to leave, he stayed for one more season and then left for Man City, and it turned out to be the right decision. He joined a treble-winning side, and the rest was history, wasn't it, for Haaland? Sesko will stay at Leipzig with a new gentleman agreement for the future exit. Apparently, he's turned down insane offers from Saudi. They were offering him 30 million pounds, dollars, euros, probably euros, a year net salary. I mean, really? I know he scored a few goals this season, but surely when you buy a player like that and give them 30 million a year on salary, you're buying like a massive brand, because that's the whole idea for the Saudi League. You want to get eyes on it. Not everyone's going to watch the Saudi League because a 21-year-old Leipzig striker just signed there. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. Whatever. But we're not talking about the Saudi League. Still, this is interesting. A huge amount of talk regarding Benjamin Sesko. Loads of teams want him, of course. Saudi, European teams, and of course Arsenal, Chelsea, Manchester United, all trying to sign him. Only recently was David Ornstein reporting that Arsenal was still favourites, but the biggest threat wasn't Chelsea or Manchester United. The biggest threat was the chance of him extending and with RB Leipzig. And this is what he's done. He's extended. It's one in the eye for United. Well, Man United have got a young striker in Rasmus Højlund, but certainly Arsenal could have done with him really, really well. You know, I don't think Havertz is the long-term solution there, and they're clearly not massively sold on Gabriel Jesus anymore. And Chelsea, look, many of you guys were really excited about this idea of signing this player. I was sort of getting more swayed towards it. I referenced yesterday, I went on Alex Goldberg's playback stream, and he kind of like sold it to me a little bit, because I just knew him as this like young promising striker who's really good in the air, which is always alluring to have a striker that can, like, you know, really get up and hang in the air. But yeah, he's got technical skills as well. this for me. This isn't like the one that got away. I mean, another in terms of strikers, another update from Romano at the end of that aforementioned video. He speaks about Julian Alvarez, of course, a player that we've been linked with before. Or certainly, certain Argentinian media are suggesting Chelsea are prepared to put in a bid for him, and now maybe Arsenal will look to him as well. People want a striker, and there will be a clamour for a striker. Be very, very interesting to see what happens here. Maybe Chelsea keep their powder dry. Maybe we consider playing Nkunku up top, rotating with Nico Jackson. I mean, maybe. I'll have to see that. I do think we will buy a striker, though. I just sort of feel it. Whether we'll sign an Alvarez or whether we'll sign a lower profile striker just to have as an option, man. But yeah, Benjamin Sesko is not going to Arsenal, Man United, Chelsea or Saudi because he is staying at RB Leipzig. Of course, regarding strikers, keep it locked to this channel. As the developments occur, I will report and react to them here as quickly as possible. So keep it locked, and we're going to move on now and speak about the Athletics transfer sheet. What's it called? Yeah, transfer sheet. Anyway, about Chelsea. There's a segment on Chelsea, so we're going to get into that now and pick the players as we go. So, what has happened this week? Well, of course, Chelsea have completed the signing of free agent Tosin Adarabioyo from Fulham. Chelsea have stepped up their efforts to sign the 17-year-old Brazilian right-back Pedro Lima. Of course, we've reflected on that. It does seem like Pedro Lima will be sent out to Strasbourg, and he's like a portfolio player. And if he does really well, maybe he'll get a chance to come to Chelsea, because ultimately, that's the grand plan here. You have satellite clubs to put players out there to develop to two things: generate revenue, or put into the first team. See what they become, you know. And a few of them will be failed acquisitions. That's, you know, you got to break a few eggs to make an omelette, etc. More talks are scheduled today, and there is growing confidence that a deal can be completed. This is for the young Brazilian fullback. One reason things were on hold until now was because Sport had a game on Monday. That's the club he currently plays for. So moving on, going up into the midfield, Conor Gallagher's future remains uncertain. Of course, a constant talking point when it comes to Chelsea. Until he either is sold or, of course, extends his contract here, this will always remain a big talking point. So he could run down his contract, since leaving on a free transfer next year would increase his options and a potential signing on bonus. Yeah, well, you definitely get a signing on bonus if you're England international that's 24 years old offering your services. Chelsea do not want to miss out on a fee, so might cash in this summer. Yeah, but he's got to agree to go. So, of course, Aston Villa and Tottenham Hotspur and a few Champions League clubs outside England are keen. Look, man, everyone, so many clubs, especially if you don't necessarily play tiki-taka, Guardiola total football, every other club, certainly Aston Villa, of course, they're going to want Conor Gallagher. He was like born to play in that Unai Emery midfield, maybe next to John McGinn. Can you imagine that? I've joked before, like, you know, incredible stuff. Also, we know Atletico Madrid really want Conor Gallagher, but they won't be able to pay the money for him. Again, Gallagher would be excellent in a Simeone midfield, you'd have to say. He's got that sort of tenacious warrior, getting stuck in style that Simeone at Atletico would absolutely love. Tottenham Hotspur, very, very interested, of course, in Conor Gallagher. And again, slightly different, but Ange Postecoglou would really like that tenacity and work rate in midfield. Of course, it's a very high-octane, risk-taking style of football, Ange Postecoglou, and it's kind of similar in some ways to Pochettino's football, which, of course, Conor Gallagher thrived in at Chelsea. And yes, of course, a few other Champions League clubs. I'm not sure all of them, which have been named. Would he want to go? He wants to stay, that's his priority, but if he just reads the room and says, right, these guys clearly aren't going to give me the contract I want, so therefore they're going to try and flog me, let's try and make the best decision here. He has to sort of take away his Chelsea fan element and be more of an ambitious professional footballer in that sense, and do whatever's best and get ahead of the news in that sense. Aston Villa are a Champions League club. I have reservations on whether they will maintain that sort of level of football. I'm not sure they will, but I don't think he'll want to go to Tottenham because he is ultimately Chelsea. But yes, this is just me reacting to the news here. Like I've always maintained, I would prefer to keep Conor Gallagher in the Chelsea squad even if he's not a starter. That is my position on things, but we'll see what happens. Chelsea are making moves to ensure the 15-year-old Rio, excuse this pronunciation, Ngamoa, remains at the club. Yes, I've seen news about this, that his contract expires this summer and clubs are looking to take advantage. Obviously, he's being advised, probably quite appropriately, to optimise his position, but he's a young, talented player in the academy that expires this summer, but Chelsea want him to extend. So we'll see what happens there. So, could the returning loanees be part of the squad next season? Now, this is interesting. Midfielder Andrés Santos is being earmarked for first team football next season. Ding, 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 ding. The young Brazilian midfielder, of course. Remember, we wanted to drop him in January with Potter. He couldn't get the work permit. He captained the Brazil under-20 side to the championship in the summer. He then returned for pre-season. Chelsea have fielded inquiries from teams across Europe for the 20-year-old who's impressed in the second half of the season on loan at Strasbourg. Yeah, remember Strasbourg was struggling. He went on loan. He didn't get in the team straight away, but as soon as he got onto the team, their form turned around. They really like him out there, and he was winning loads of player of the matches. I believe he won like player of the month once or twice. Incredible scenes, really. A young player that turned their fortunes around. However, Chelsea are not interested in selling, or really interesting, loaning him, because I thought, yeah, give him another season at Strasbourg to take him into 21, more top-flight football. I thought that would be appropriate for him. Personally, that was my take. But the Brazilian is regarded as a great fit for how Enzo Maresca wants his team to play. His ability to operate as a number 6 or a number 8, combined with great ball retention, will be a major asset for Chelsea as Chelsea negotiate the extra fixtures in the Conference League. Love that! In the same way I was saying yesterday, or certainly, yeah, probably yesterday, that if Noni Madueke doesn't start for Chelsea, I don't want him to go because he could be the Conference League winger. Just say to him, look, mate, you're still young. You know, you played for Chelsea a bit. You've done all right at times. You've also demonstrated, you know, how you can be immature. You're the guy for the Conference League. There's loads of games in the Conference League. Early FA Cup, you are the right winger. Show me what you got. Muscle the other guys out of the team. Settle into Enzo Maresca's football. That's what I feel. And I feel the same. This could be the exact same thing for Andrés Santos as a midfielder. You know, the fringe players, but show that you're not a fringe player. And they're all young, because all the friggin' Chelsea players are children. Good news, though. I like that. I like how they're looking at Santos like that, personally. So this is interesting. What positions and players are Chelsea looking at? Well, a striker is their priority, as The Athletic has discussed last week. A handful of candidates are on the list. Now, Benjamin Sesko, one to watch above. Roman has since come out and said he's staying. He said, but Sesko's particularly favoured by Chelsea. Well, they'll have to favour someone else now, won't they, guys? Another forward under consideration is Aston Villa's John Duran. Chelsea have liked John Duran for a long, long time, of course. Any deal for the 20-year-old would be separate from Gallagher's potential move to Villa Park. Yeah, I actually think Duran looks pretty good, but I don't think he represents the striker solution, because we've got loads of young strikers. You know, Datro Fofana, David Washington, and the rest, you know, and the other development players. We've got good young strikers. So this is interesting. Everton's Dominic Calvert-Lewin has been linked with a switch, but is not heading to Stamford Bridge. Good. Of course, he's been heavily linked to sending a striker their way in Armando Bria. There was a report suggesting that they'd pay a package worth £30 million, which personally I'd be very interested in completing that deal. But certainly Calvert-Lewin not coming our way. Look, 4 years ago, whenever it was, I would have absolutely taken Calvert-Lewin whenever he was playing under Ancelotti, but now not so much. So Chelsea want another winger as well, and continue to see Crystal Palace's Michael Olise as their first choice. And yesterday morning's video was about that, Michael Olise being the priority target at winger there. Very exciting. Man, I've said this, it seems like a weird decision to get a player, but at the same time, you know, in the same way Real Madrid have signed Kylian Mbappe, he's going to play up front, but Mbappe wants to occupy the same spaces as Vinicius Jr., but I imagine many Madrid fans aren't sad about the signing. Do you know what I mean? And maybe it's less Galactico and high profile, but you can feel the same way about Olise joining Chelsea. And of course, we will follow that story. Very, very interesting. So this is some interesting stuff here about players coming out of the team. So what players could be leaving? Romelu Lukaku, of course, admitted in an interview last week that he wouldn't mind going to the Saudi Pro League. Good! Chelsea are keen to sell the striker and will hope to trigger the £38 million clause. Of course, Napoli apparently have offered 15 million, something way too low. We know that his daddy, as Tuchel called it, is now the manager of Napoli in Antonio Conte, former Chelsea manager, who's won the Prem, of course. He loves Lukaku, he'd love him in Napoli. I imagine, Lukaku would like that. Napoli aren't in the Champions League. I don't even think they're in Europe this season, which is big fall from grace. So it'd kind of be playing in Italy but not chasing the bag. And as a 31-year-old going on 32, he could probably still get serious money in Saudi. That's why Lukaku has started talking about it. Goalkeepers, of course, Kepa Arrizabalaga, who spent last season on loan at Real Madrid, has 1 year left on his deal at Chelsea. The club already have, of course, Sanchez, Petrovic and Bettinelli for that position and want Kepa off the books. Kepa off the books, I have a feeling we might rip up his contract and let him sign somewhere on a free. Personally, I can see that happening. Of course, Hakim Ziyech, he is now on a permanent to Galatasaray. It was a loan with an obligation to buy, and that's been triggered apparently. And I still have a feeling that one of Petrovic and Sanchez will be sold to get a replacement. Maybe not. Maybe it's not a priority. But if Chelsea get a lot of business done and an opportunity comes, they will get a new goalkeeper. As far as I'm concerned, but like I said, it's not a priority. So. Interesting, not a popular one with many Chelsea fans here, this decision, but Chelsea defender Trevoh Chalobah is available for the right price. Despite becoming a first-team regular in the final 3 months of the season, Chelsea do not see him suiting Maresca's method of playing out from the back. I don't know if that's true. I know Trevoh Chalobah. He's got great long passing, Trevoh Chalobah. We've seen really good distribution. Not granted, he doesn't do it all the time, but he's shown he can do it. And some of you might be saying, "Oh, our clock's right 2 times a day or whatever." But I think it's unfair. I think he is a good player. I think he's a good ball player. Maybe they're mean. I can't really think in the forefront of my mind at the moment of his short range metronomic passing, if that's something he does. But I've certainly seen him do some good long passing. But they believe he's not suited to their style of playing, apparently. That's the briefing. Fulham are one of the clubs expressing an interest in the 24-year-old, who is under contract until 2028. He does not want to leave Stamford Bridge. He wants to make it work, of course. We'll see what happens there. Chelsea and Everton are in dialogue over Armando Broja, which we've reacted to. A deal would only be possible if Everton can raise funds first. A deal may require Calvert-Lewin to leave, and there are hosts of clubs in the conversation for Broja as well. Chelsea are also in no rush to agree terms with anyone before Broja plays for Albania. Of course, an opportunity for Armando to really demonstrate his ability playing for his country in the Euros. And his stock's pretty low at the moment because he had a really bad loan at Fulham. So it would be probably for the best for him to go and play first. Obviously, had he had an amazing 6 months at Fulham and scored 9 Premier League goals or something in those 6 months, then Chelsea would probably be sell him now, sell, while his stocks are high. Because then if he has a bad Euros of Albania, which could easily happen, it's hard to score in international football, then you basically want to get him going quickly. But it's the opposite. So because his stocks are so low, you've just got a platform for them to raise a little bit. The forgotten man, David Datro Fofana, of course, could be on his way out too after loans at Union Berlin, which was a failed loan, and Burnley, which did pretty well. Chelsea feel he can attract offers. Cool, and there's an analysis here about Conor Gallagher, which we don't need to read. Yeah, man, so lots going on. A good, concise update there from the ins, the outs, and also the returning loanees. As always, put it out to you guys. What do you think? Talk about Sesko, talk about Alvarez, talk about strikers in general. Returning loanees, your Lukaku's, everything. Let's start the conversation down in the comment section below. And guys, keep it locked because stuff's popping off all the time. I try and react as quick as possible. So if you subscribe, turn the bell on for notifications. And I'll see you back here soon. Alright, peace.